Well, looks like Rich popped off. Let's hope he comes back soon. Here he is. He's coming in now.
All righty then. I guess
Yeah.
usually it waits till the show's over to kick me out, but today
Yeah.
right away. That's pretty interesting.
Is it mad at you?
I get that's the way it works sometimes. I guess it's I don't know Money Monday on the biggest weeks of horse racing. Of course, this Saturday is the Kentucky Derby,
Yep.
and that'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. We'll have our wagering guide at Guaranteed Tip Sheet ready, hopefully by Wednesday evening. You'll be able to get that along with today's free picks over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There is a link in the description down there below. Today's free picks are a track that you've been to, Terry, at Finger Lakes.
Yeah. I've been
Seems like
there.
a pretty like a pretty part of the country over there with all those lakes and the mountains and the woods and stuff like that.
It is. It's nice.
Indeed, I've only driven through there, but maybe one of these days. I thought about like applying. Oh, Race Masters, how you doing today? They had an opening for the race caller over there, along with the handicapper.
Yeah.
Thought about it, but I don't know that I could do the race calling.
Well, you probably could if you practiced a little bit because you're pretty good at stuff. So
My people to play the 2 in the first run at Parx for Jose Abdel Dominguez. Again, you want to play the free picks over there, guaranteed tip sheet for Finger Lakes. There's a link in the description below. Make sure you click on that. You head on over there because once we launched all the Kentucky Derby, Kentucky Oak stuff, you're not going to want to miss that. All of the work that we put into this show and a little bit more will go into the wagering guide and all that good stuff. Of course, on Friday, Terry, myself, and Thomas, not to be outdone by any other shows out there, well, we're going to get together. We'll do our Oaks Derby double, and then we're going to do a pick 6 compliments of Scary Creations. I think it was that thought about that. $500 budget. So Terry's licking his chops because he can go all, and then pick one horse in one race and be good to go.
yeah. So that's fun.
All right. So race number 1 at Parx today, Terry. What are they running for?
Well, it's a 7 furlong race, claiming price of $7,500. The purse $20,000 for 3-year-olds and upward, which have not won a race since January 29th.
And at 7 furlongs, what you're looking for, what we dub the profile of a winner. Stalkers, you want to be in the front half, not necessarily on the lead. 7 furlongs probably wins at the lowest amount for wire-to-wire types. You do get a real bonus for JW's third Mischief. I forget. They run out of an F or something there. I don't know. The best place to be is posts 2 or 3. 4 through 8 are discounted. Similarly, a little bit, probably running about 20% under par for those post positions. First race, we do 10,000 simulations, Terry. We want to know, based upon our simulating speed figures, who has the best chance to win. And then based upon that, we calculate out our simulated odds. You see them here. We're looking for simulated odds that are lower than post-time odds, looking for value. And then how many times out of those 10,000 times, or at least a percentage, that a horse runs a speed figure at par or better. According to Brisnet in the opener, speed figure of 85 is the average for the conditions. So you'll see here, these 2 ran above that. Speed does matter most of the time at Parx. Again, 17% or so going wire to wire. We calculate out who's got the best chance to have the lead at the quarter-mile marker. And then based upon our calculations and projected pace, which horses are likely to be in their comfort zone, how closely this race will match their best performances. The higher the number, the better. Typically looking for something 50% or up. Terry, what's going to go on in this one according to all of those simulations?
Well, as you can see there, all of them show some kind of speed, except for maybe the 8 on the outside there, but 5 has the most speed. The 4 has an overlay from about 3.5 to 1 to 6 to 1, and the 8 has an overlay from just over even money to 7 to 2. The 4 and the 8 show the only par plus numbers, and all but the 1 and 5 have pretty decent C-zone numbers.
And somehow neither one of us has the 4. Probably the first mistake of the week. Along with our simulations, we do trip handicapping. So we just mark out on paper where every horse wants to be when it runs its best race. The 5 wants to pilot. The 3 can pilot or co-pilot. The 4 wants to co-pilot. The 2 here. The PC type can pressure, can close, it can be up on the front. This is the most versatile of all horse racing running styles. And then you have the closers with the 1, 6, 7, and 8. According to their pace numbers, Terry, Shanghai Superfly, that one's a left arrow horse, a closer with the most early speed in the race, followed by Jabologist. That is your E-horse up in there. Late speed belongs to the 8 horse, Hurricane Highway. There's a pretty aggressive late pace advantage over everybody else. 14 points clear of the next closest horse, almost 2.5 lengths, but does look like it can be more than 2 lengths off the lead at the get-go. And then finally, when you look at our top total pace horse, 70% of the time or more, it is found in the top 4. Here you have the 2, the 3, the 5, and the 1 in that group. Terry, who's in your group of picks?
Well, I like the 8 to start out with, Hurricane Highway. He likes park racing. He's been in the money 57% of the races he's ran here, and he's won 14% of those. The distance won't cause any problems as he's finished in the money in 60% of the starts, and he has won 40% of the races. Then I like the 2 Bullet Butch. He finished third versus similar in his last race. He has a high percentage winning jockey, geologist.
Geologist, the guy who's got all the gems there, Terry.
That's right. Well, that's the 5.
That would be gemologist. I don't know what a gemologist is. Maybe that's someone who studies Jeb Bush. I don't know.
Could be. Anyway, he has the highest speed figure at today's distance. His best start speed is fastest among today's starters. Shanghai Superfly, the 7 is my long shot. He drops in class today. Now we do every race. We do certain bets, and we bet $2 to win on our first choice, a $1 exacta box on our first 2 choices, a 50-cent trifecta box on our first 3 choices, and then a 10-cent superfecta box on our first 4 choices. And other than that, I'm not doing any additional bets here.
So our good friend Christopher D'Souza joins us today. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you again. We do have, if like Christopher or Anur or Gustavo likes the 2, 3, and 6 in the opening race. Our good friend Don Johnson, who all of our pick 4s, the Miami Vice pick 4s, Jose Race Masters. If you have some comments, some questions, we appreciate them. We welcome them. We encourage them. So that way we have some more interactivity, helps the show move along and keeps everybody involved. Also helps us with the algorithms with all those tech companies. The more interaction we have, the higher our scores go, the better we do when people search for horse racing picks. Easy way to help us out. The 2 horse Bullet Butch, Terry, is my top selection in here. Last time out, Bullet Butch ran the top last race speed figure, 5 points better than the next closest horse. You've heard me do it on repeat, like a refrain in an old song. 3 points or better, according to Andrew Beyer, is a horse that you have to pay special attention to. This one gets a little bit more attention today because it has a weight break, and in its last race showed some improvement from the middle to the finish line. Hurricane Highway, your top selection, Terry, and the overlay, according to our simulation odds, does have that really big late speed advantage over the rest. That's 14 points. And one of 2 horses in this field with the par plus score. We left the other one out. Hidden Promise, the 3 horse, is next on my list in here. This one, if you like the 2 horse, Bullet Butch, you also have to like the 3 horse because on paper, they're identical horses, identical total pace as well. And then finally, the horse with the best name of the day, Shanghai Superfly. It's the only class dropper in the field, and last time out, all of its race internals, the pace numbers improved from race to race to race. We have another gentleman joining us from Turkey here. Kadir, how are you today? Christopher D'Souza likes the 2, the 1, and the 7 in race number 1. We like that as well. I believe race 3, Phillies maiden claim 10K, very tough call. Oh, we'll get to that one in a minute. We have the bet pick 6 here in Turkey. We'll be on that. I'm still studying the card. Could use some of that Philadelphia crystal meth to get moving. Yeah. If that Kensington, man, have you seen those Kensington Street videos on YouTube? Ugh. I don't know. This is supposed to be the top country, the richest country in the world. You see stuff like that. It's just, ugh. Kaisi Feisy, top horse racing picks today for Kais Feisy at Parx. Screenshot this at 10:17 on the timer, and you'll be able to come back to that. All right, Terry, you and I are going to go off to race number 2, which is the first of the 3 pick 4s today. What are the conditions for race el número 2?
It's a 6 furlong race. It's an optional claiming race, $16,000 claiming price if you elect to put your horse in there to possibly be claimed. Purse is $25,000 for 3-year-olds and which have not started for $16,000 or less, and which have never won 2 races, or a claiming price of $16,000, or which have not won, or which have never won 2 races, or claiming price of $16,000 for 3-year-olds.
Yeah, so you got a lot of work to work on there. So a lot of ways to get into this one, Terry, but there's only a couple ways to the winner's circle. We found that 6 furlongs, the best way against stalkers. You want to be middle forward. Being on the front is a good spot as well, as 35% of the time, the horse that leads at the quarter-mile marker also leads when they take the photo in the winner's circle. Pretty strong rail advantage for I Feel Lucky Tonight. 2 and 3 get a small bonus. 4 and out again, discounted about 20% below par. Not deal killers, but certainly horses that are going to have to work a little harder than they might otherwise if they had inside 3 post, Terry. So in the second race, we're looking for some inside 3 speed, but it's just going to be 1 over.
Yeah, that 4 shows plenty of speed, followed up by the 2. And then the 4 has the only overlay. I mean, it goes from about 7 to 5 to 3 to 1. And the 4 also has the only par plus number. And then all of these show some kind of season.
A few of them here, though, only a trio of them over 50%. We do see that 4 horse is a green go horse. Green, 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 green. So we call them green goes, as in the color green. In our race shape for the second race kind of tilts a little bit towards the middle back. So early speed could be, again, fit the bias, fits the race shape. Party at Sam's is the fastest horse, as we saw in our simulations. The 2 horse checking boxes will be right there to keep that horse, honest, maybe. At the end of the race, I Feel Lucky Tonight, the rail horse with the rail bonus, along with Wild Alex. Those 2 just about a half length quicker than everybody else as the race comes to a close. Your top total pace horses, you have 2 of them here. I Feel Lucky, Party at Sam's, the closer in the speed. They're 8 points clear of the next closest horse. So this one looks like it comes down to the 1 and the 4 horse. Terry, I think we both started with those 2 as well.
That's right. I did start with the 4 parties at Sam's. He's finishing the money in 6 out of the last 7 races. He won 2 of those starts, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. I Feel Lucky Tonight is the 1 horse. That's my second choice, finished 3rd versus similar in his last race at Parx Racing. The rail post is winning 20% clip, and he has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer as well. Checking all the boxes, number 2 is my 3rd choice. He has a high percentage winning trainer, wins 21% of the sprint races he has a horse running in. His early speed running style will help his chances, so the shorter distance will definitely help. And then number 7 is my long shot, So Close So Far. He finished 3rd versus similar in his last race at Parx Racing. I'm going to play a 50-cent Miami Vice Don Johnson pick 4, 1-2-4 with the 3-6 with the 2-4-5-7. And finish it up with a 258, $36 cost. No additional bets for me in that race.
Hey, if you're watching us today on Twitter, kindly hit the retweet button. We'd appreciate that so more people can find us. If you're watching us on Horse Racing Radar TV, kindly hit the subscribe button if you have not. Also that bell. Heck, if you're watching on Twitter, make sure you head over there and subscribe as well. Follow us on all of our social sites. Our great friend, Sean, Swiss Army Sean, does a wonderful job putting up some upbeat horse racing news. And, we'll be breaking some stories too as our contacts continue to get deeper and deeper. I like the 4 horse Terry on top too. That one's going to get to the lead. I don't think it ever gives it up. Class dropper here, Terry. That was much better in the early part of its race last out. A green go horse. I Feel Lucky Tonight. The 1 horse. That's what everybody who says when they go to the casino, right? That it just doesn't work out that way. But anyhow, so it missed in its last race after coming over from Turfway Park in its first attempt at Parx. Does have a pair of workouts since, so I think you'll see a better performance in round 2 in the Pennsylvania Dirt. Number 7, So Close So Far. That's the feeling that everybody has at the casino when they leave. This one had a big pop in its speed figure last time out. Has a decent workout between races and carries less weight today, so maybe continues on that new level. And then finally, checking boxes, Terry's absolute favorite number 1 handicapping angle. it is checking all the boxes. But for me, the handicapping angle is class dropper in its third start after a layoff. And its last race was better than it looks as the fractions early on were quicker. My Don Johnson, Miami Vice, pick 4 in the air tonight. 147 over the 1-3, over the 2-3-4-7, over the 1-2-5 and 8. That one, my friend Terry, puts me borderline maximum budget at $48 as we are limited to only spending $50. Hi, Lolo. How are you? Thanks for handicapping. No problem. It's what we do. It's what we like to do. It's fun. We're really happy to have everybody join us and comment. In race number 2, Christopher likes the 1 horse to win in place. I feel lucky tonight. Christopher feeling lucky with that one. And then the 6 and the 4 to round out the exacta and the trifecta. Terry, let's go to race number 3 on this 10-race card. I think it's the only time we're going to see this distance today, but sometimes my old man memory fails me.
Yeah. Well, it's a mile and it's a maiden claiming race, $10,000 claiming price, first 21,000 for maidens, fillies, 3-year-olds.
All right. As I turn the heater up and down, because in my dungeon down here, it gets cold, it gets warm, it gets cold, it gets warm. And when it gets cold, I got to turn the heater on. When it gets warm, I got to turn it off. So that's why I lean off to the side. But at 1 mile, early speed does great here, Terry. 50% out of the time. So if I remember from math class, 1 out of 2 goes wire to wire. Got a pretty strong rail bias for Royal Upstart. So perhaps that one can outrun its 5-1 odds. 2 to 3 play fair. 4 and 7 get discounted. 8 and out. Those horses have a similar win rate as the rail. So barbell race in race number 3, Terry. We don't go to 8 horses, only 6 with a scratch, but that doesn't mean speed won't matter.
Yeah, well, there's 2 horses in here that have almost matching speed, that 2 and that 4, so they'll probably go head to that quarter pole if they both get a good break. The one has the only overlay I see, which is less than even money to 5-1. The one also has the only par plus number, and 6, 7, 2, and 4 have the C zones.
Indeed. And then we look over here in race number 3. The 7 horse over here, Terry, is a Lone E, Molly Malone. So if Molly Malone can get the lead, look out on that horse because Lone E's can be dangerous. So far, the 3 and the 6, Alma Brila and Moon at Night, they've showed they want to close. The 1, the 2, and the 4 have not been within 5 lengths of the winner so far in their careers, or at least up to the last 10 races. In the beginning, does a 7 get the lead? I don't know. He's got a shot, but it looks like those 2 NC horses, Nora's Gamble and Catalina Nina, they're about a 3/4 of a length quicker, and they're to the inside, along with Royal Upstart too. So the 7 could work to get to the front. Could make that a difficult task. On the way home, Royal Upstart, the 1 horse, does have a little bit more late speed than Alma Brila, the closer. Everybody else is probably about a length and a half behind those 2. So if they're come out of the turn anywhere near the front, the 1 and the 3, they could be very difficult to challenge at the end. You have the 1 horse, a 7-point advantage over the 4 and 3. So maybe you take the 1 with the 3 and 4, you put them together in an exacta or trifecta, and perhaps you can come home on a small bet with a decent payout. Terry, what do you see?
I like the 3, Alma Brila. She's finished 3rd versus similar in her last race, and her best start speed is fastest among today's starters. She has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Moon at Night, the 6 is my second choice. She has a high percentage winning trainer, wins 24% of the maiden claiming races that he has a horse in, and he has a high percentage, or she has a high percentage winning jockey. Royal Upstart, it's my 3rd pick. The 1, she drops in class today. The rail post is winning at a 27% clip. She may improve while returning to a route, and she switches to high percentage winning trainer. Catalina Nina, the 4, is my long shot, drops in class today. Has a trainer, wins 17% of the races when shipping a horse in to run, and she has a high percentage winning jockeys. No additional bets for me in here.
So I'm going to go with the 1 horse as my top pick. Put $10 to win on that bad boy. This one's coming in from Gulfstream Park, so that's a track dropper. It's also a class dropper. So track class droppers, usually those Gulfstream or track dropper horses, you see their numbers rise when they face lighter competition. It's already the top total pace horse by 7. Alma Brila, your top choice, Terry, in here. Better fractions last out. Good chance to be a better horse in the second start after a layoff. Moon at Night. This one is the morning line favorite. Similar fractions last time out at a mile versus 7 furlongs in the prior start. This horse has potential to improve in its second route run. And then finally, Catalina Nina, track and class dropper as well. It's only run 3 times so far, so the upside potential could be there for the horse, maybe the most upside potential in the field. So I mentioned I'm going to put $10 to win on the one horse, that track and class dropper. In the first race, Terry, right now, the 2 horse, Bullet Butch, is your favorite at 6-5. And then right behind it, Hurricane Highway, the 8 horse, is your second choice, 2-1. And then you have the 3 horse, Hidden Promise, at 5-1. Looks like a fair odds on that one there, Terry. Looks like the horse with the overlay here is the 8 horse at 2-1 versus our morning line of basically 6-5. It's also 1 or 2 par plus horses in there. Everybody else, Terry, is in excess of 10-1. So pick outside those 3 horses. You're going to get paid. Looking at some other value perhaps in here, Terry, it looks like, well, the 3 horse, maybe. Yeah. Maybe just pick the one that gets to the lead. Jabologist, the 5 horse at 10-1. You know, you got a shot to go wire to wire. Maybe that's the horse to think about there. Race number 1 for Race Masters.
Oops.
Oh, you got me there. Right? Parx, race 1 to 3, race 3 to 3, race 4 to 10 and 9, race 7, the 5, race 8, the 5 and 9. And our boy Lolo over here says, do you folks even remote situation have a bet on a horse based on the name of the horse? You know, the Kentucky Derby's coming up on that, Leloy. And if you remember a few years ago, one horse scratched in at the very end, and its name was Rich Strike. And Sean texted me and said, hey, are you going to bet him because your name is in it? And usually, you know, if my name is in a horse, I'll put a bet on it. And guess what I didn't do?
You didn't bet it. Yeah, and it paid big.
Yeah, it was 80-1.
Yeah.
Yes, probably the longest shot to win the Kentucky Derby in a while, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm guilty of that, especially if it has like my kids or grandkids' names in there, or my wife or mine. I'll do a bet on it. And it usually does pretty well. So
it's funny how that works, right?
Yeah.
So Jessica Paquette says that they're almost ready to run, and indeed, she's right about that. Well, if you back the 6 horse, good luck. That one got a pretty crappy break. Otherwise, everybody else off to a pretty good start. It does look like the jockey's asking the 4 horse for a lot. That's my business. Maybe a little too much early on. The 3 horse, Hidden Promise, the one we sought, might be a little bit of a value in there. That one has found its way towards the lead. The 1, JW's third Mischi, is in second. You got the 5 Between Horses. And then to the outside of that, the 8 horses. Those 4 horses are about 2 lengths ahead of the 2 horse right now, the current favorite, as they go through the opening quarter in 23-3. Yeah, the 4 horses day's probably done. Right now, you have the 3 and the 5. It's like the 3 and the 7 are starting to really work their way forward there. The 8 horse coming kind of aggressively. The 2 horses decided to keep pace with those. They might have a tough time, though, running down that 3 and 7, although they're trying. They're both going to be forced wide. They're both working pretty hard. I think the 3 horse is going to be the one that ends up pulling away and winning this race, Terry, at the end. So he's pulled away from the 7. The question is, who's going to... Oh, the 8 horse is making its way up there now, though, too, pretty aggressively. 2 horse forced wide. I think the 8 horse might get it, although the 2 horses cruised up alongside the 8 here. Very interesting how this race played out, my friend Terry. 2 horse is going to be the one that goes by the 8 horse, is going to go by the 3 horse. It's going to go 2, 3, 8, 1. 2, 3, 8, and 1 in the opener, Mr. Terry.
You got the trifecta?
Yeah, 2 horse. Actually, at the end, money came off of that horse. It ended up going off at 8-5. And then the 8 horse, 5-2. The 3 horse was the value horse in the race. But in any case, we move off to race number 6?
4.
4? Yeah, 4. Oh, yeah. It feels like we're going faster than that.
Yeah.
That was a slow race, and I guess that's how I feel like we're going. All right, Terry. In race number 4, they're going to run a route.
Yeah, we're going to stretch out to 1 mile and 70 yards. It's a $5,000 claiming race, purse $18,000 for fillies and mares 3-year-olds and upward, which have not won 2 races since October 29th.
And at $170 in the Ben Salem dirt, Mr. Terry, once again, we find in these routes Be fast, baby. 40% of the time, the horse that goes to the lead stays on the lead and wins in gate to wire fashion. Small discount for Western Dream on the rail. 2 and 3 get a bonus. They get a lift. 4 through 7, they get discounted. And 8 announced the best place to be by just a little bit. So a little bit of an accordion race, right? Good, bad, or bad, good, something along those lines.
Yep.
Looking at our 10,000 simulations in the fourth race, Terry, looks like one on the outside is a little bit quicker than the rest.
It is. That 7 has the most speed, followed up by the 5. And then if you see the 3 here has a small overlay from 4 to 1 to 5 to 1. And then the 4 and the 5, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, the 4, 5 have the par plus numbers. And then all but the 1 has good C zones.
Ton of good C zones. So all these horses should be very happy with the way this pace breaks down. Let's look at the way the shape breaks down. The 1 and 7, they want to be forward, Terry. Everybody else middle back, although the 2 and the 5 have some versatility that perhaps the others don't have. At the beginning, Aaron's Enthusiasm is the quicker of the 2 front runners. Doesn't really have a whole lot to its inside the clear. Kind of competitive, but 7 should be able to get up side by side with the 1. Can they get in front? That's tough to tell. Caged Pixie is the closer of closers. It'll be coming hardest at the end, about 2 lengths better than the next closest horse. Also has the top total pace in here, Terry, by about 4 points over Aaron's Enthusiasm. So once again, looks like we have a race where it's speed versus the closer, and you just went somewhere else.
I did. I like the 5, Princess Sophie. You know, she likes Parx racing. She's finished the money 72% of the races that she's ran here, won 39% of those. And the distance is a place she can handle, as she's been in the money 77% of the time and won 33% of the starts. And I like the 4 Peach Perfect. She has a high percentage winning trainer who wins 36% of the races when dropping a horse down 2+ classes. She has the highest last speed rating, and she has the highest speed figure at today's distance. Number 2, Just Stay Home, is my third choice. She ran second versus similar in the last race, and she has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Aaron's Enthusiasm, the 7, is my long shot. Won the last race at Parx Racing and at today's distance, so you know she can handle that. And then I'm doing that Miami Vice pick 4 again. I'm using the 2, 4, 5, 7 with the 2, 5, 8 with the 2, 4, 6, 7 with the 1, 5. It's a $48 cost. No other bets for me in that race.
I'm going to start off with the 2 horse. I don't have the 5 horse. I'm probably going to regret that right as the race starts, but Just Stay Home, very consistent performer for Just Stay Home in here. It's won off the bench like it's going to do today. Peach Perfect. I've said before many times, my Labrador is named Peach. She's my chubby blonde girlfriend. She's taking a weird class drop, though, in here, and does have a pair of workouts between starts. The horse really performed well last time out, so maybe the trainer expects some regression off of 2 strong races in a row. They call that pair figures. I was reading about that on the weekend as I try to brush up on all my handicapping skills as we head into the Kentucky Derby. Aaron's Enthusiasm, the 7 horse in here. Class rise off a big pop in speed figure last time out. Her resume says that she runs well in bunches, so we should see another good one here today, probably on the front. And then Caged Pixie was that top total pace horse. Does have the most late speed by a pretty big margin, Terry. And I don't think this one's going to be too far off the pace here. Probably wish I put it in the 5 in my pick 4. But instead, I'm going to go, because I feel like this series of races is pretty much wide open. I'm going to go 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 for $40.50 and see if indeed one of my top 3 picks can come home first in that sequence. It's tough to pick 4 winners in a row, Terry, and stick them in your pick 4s, right?
That's right.
Well, race number 5 will be the second leg of that one and the last leg of the first pick 5, Terry. And in order for us to cash one and be alive in the second, what do they got to do?
6.5 furlongs. It's maiden claiming, $10,000 claiming price, $21,000 purse. It's for registered Pennsylvania bred maidens, fillies, 3-year-olds.
All right. So at 6.5 furlongs, I believe there's 2 6.5 furlong races today. The first one is this one. Stalkers do great at the distance, 26% of the time. Get to the lead, keep the lead, and win. It's a very strong rail bonus for Rock Tune. 2 and 3 get a discount. 4 through 7 fair. 8 and out's the worst. Terry, what's your favorite rock tune?
Oh, my favorite rock tune? Geez, I don't know. I really don't have one.
Who
I'm
sings
more-
that song? Geez, I don't know. Is that a U2 song? Geez, I don't know.
Yeah, it probably is. You know
All
what?
right, Terry.
Yeah, I like the old 50s music. So,
So you're like a Frank Sinatra guy?
well, no, I'm more like, yeah, he's okay, but I like, who do I like? I don't know. You just different people like
From
the
day
Big
to day, it changes, huh?
Big Popper and people like that. So,
All right. Well, tell us
Jerry
all
Lee
about
Lewis.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah, I like him.
Uh-huh. Well, tell us all about race number 5. What do you see here in terms of all the early speed and stuff?
Well, the 5 has all the early speed and should get there first to that quarter pole. And then the 5 also has an overlay from 2 to 1 to 4 to 1. The 8 has an overlay from about 4 to 5 to 5 to 2. The 5 has the par number only par plus number. And the 1 and 8 have really small C zones, but they're the only ones with C zones.
Mm-hmm. All right. So our race shape for the 5th race, one of the middle races in the 10 race card today. 1 and 5, they want to be middle forward. 4, 7, and 8 want to close. So far, the 2 and 3 not been close at the winners line. Looking at our early speed, a lot of these races are one on the front, Terry. A Philly Thang. I feel like it should be a Philly Thang and not a thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think they misnamed that horse. But anyway, we'll rename it. But you see a lot of the horses, they're all within 5 points of each other. That's one length. A misstep, spin your wheels coming out of the gate, get bumped, get knocked off, whatever. Those horses could be first or they could be 6th. Looking at the late speed of all the horses that are up front, it does look like the 8 horse Steal the Deal as the one front runner that has a lot of late speed. Driven to Success, one could be as many as 4 lengths off the lead. It's going to have to get a little bit closer to the front today. Does look like Steal the Deal and a Philly Thang, a little bit quicker than Rock Tune, but you can see they kind of ratchet down a little bit by a little bit. Maybe the only one in this race that you can discard is Picard D. Terry, don't tell us who you discarded. Tell us who you think is going to win.
I like the 8, Still the Deal. Drops some class today. Her best start speed is fast amongst today's starters. She has a high percentage winning trainer and wins 24% of the maiden claiming races that she has a horse running in. And she has a high percentage winning jockey. The 5, a Philly Thang, is my second choice. She has a high percentage winning trainer and has shown she can handle the distance. Lucky Opportunity, the 2, is my third choice. She finished 5th in her last race as a favorite after being bumped at the start, but has a high percentage winning trainer who wins 18% of the races when bringing a beaten favorite back to race again and switches to high percentage winning jockey. Driven by Success, so 4 is my long shot. She finished in the money in 2 out of the last 4 races, can improve while returning to a sprint, and they added blinkers to keep her mind on business. No additional bets in here for me.
So if you're interested in Taekwondo, so that you can Taekwondo, Terry and I, when you meet us at the track for the picks that don't win, there's a link for you there. Be careful, though, always on links, right? Race Master says his rock tunes, Anything by John Lennon. I would say for me, it depends on the mood, right? But I would say most of the time I'd be, dipping into the Metallica library. It's my favorite music. Mm-hmm. All right. I like the 8 horse in here too, Terry. Not necessarily my favorite pick today, but Steal the Deal is a class dropper that improved in the early half mile last time out. And half mile improvement is usually indication of a horse that's going to continue to get better. Lucky Opportunity, the 2 horse, has a class drop going into this race today. In fact, it's so low, it's the lowest level of its career. A lot of times that comment shows up in my race notes at the end of the day. A Philly Thang. That one's going to be on the lead, Terry. Is your lone par plus chance in here and going to catch a weight break. So a Philly Thang has got to carry a little less weight. And then finally, Rock Tune, Terry. Strong rail edge for the 1 horse. Drops in class to where she debuted and finished a close 3rd. So look out for Rock Tune at the end of that race. Do we have plenty of time to go to race 6, Terry, before race number 2? Yeah, we probably probably get through 2 races, I would guess.
Yep.
In the 6th race, Terry, you're going to tell us what they are competing for.
We're going to go 7 furlongs, and it's a claiming race, $7,500 claiming price, $21,000 purse for fillies and mares 3-year-olds and upwards, which have never won 2 races.
Simple enough. And you can see here the average speed figure or par number for 7 furlongs for these conditions is 71. So middle of the road type horses. Looking at the 7 furlongs, again, we spoke about this at the top of the show. You're looking for horses that stalk 16% of the time. The winner does go wire to wire. There's a rail bonus in the 6th race. So perhaps La Colorada can take over that rail position and do some good work with that. 2 and 3 is the best place to be, Terry. 4 and out. They're discounted again about 20% below par. Not deal killers, but certainly means the horses will have their work cut out for them early on in this race, Terry, where speed is helpful but not necessary. What do you see?
Well, it's going to be anyone's guess who gets that quarter pole first, because the 187 shows the most speed, which is not a heck of a lot of speed. The 4, 5, the 4 has an overlay from 2-1 to 9-2. The 5 has an overlay from 12-1 to 15-1. The 7 has an overlay from 5-2 to 4-1, and the 8 has an overlay from about 7-2 to 5-1. 4, 7, 8, and 5 have par plus numbers, and then the all have some kind of a C zone numbers, with the 5 being a low one.
Plenty of them in here with C zones over 50%. I wrote in my notes that this race is wide open. Let's see if it's indeed, yeah, look at that. Just about as balanced as you can be. 3 in the front, 3 in the middle, 3 in the back. So trip could be important. Looks like 6, Sweet Mischief, is the fastest of the front runners. So maybe the 2 and 7 might be discouraged if they don't get to the front early on. And sure looks like the 6 is going to take that charge. At the end, Bruno Barber Girl, that has the most late speed. That is your pressure horse. So sits right off the lead, takes care of the business at the end, although incontrovertible up on the front. If it can get to the front and stay at the front, pretty good in there too. Angelic Storm, Wine Goddess, a lot of them, Terry, should be coming at the end. I mentioned I thought this was a wide open race. Look at this, Terry, from here on up. You're talking about 6 points. Again, get blocked, go wide, any kind of difficulty in the course of your trip. It could be the difference between finishing first or maybe 8th, 9th, or 10th.
Yep.
Terry. Or you can only go up to 9. If you finish 10th in this race, you really did something wrong with the scratch. But all right, Terry, who's going to win this open race?
Well, I like the 4 Angelic Storm. She finished 8th in her last race, but she was bumped at the start, and she has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey, and blinkers are added today. And then the 7 is my second choice. She ran 4th in her last race as a favorite after being bumped at the start up also, but has a high percentage winning trainer who wins 33% of the races when bringing a beaten favorite back to race again. And she switches a high percentage winning jockey. The 6, Sweet Mischief, is the third choice. She has a high percentage winning trainer, wins 40% of the races when taking a horse down 2+ classes. And then the 2 is my long shot, finishing the money in 3 out of 5 races at Parx Racing, winning one of the starts, and is 1 for 1 at today's distance. No additional bet for me here.
Christopher D'Souza coming in with the 5 horse, Bruno Barber Girl with Incontrovertible, along with La Colorada is his exacta trifecta trio of picks there. I'm, Terry, going to look at that 7 horse, Incontrovertible. It's incontrovertible that it's going to win, Terry, in this wide open race. This one usually rebounds after regressing, so I'm kind of doing some pattern handicapping there. Speaking of patterns, it did run a Z pattern last time out, and that's when you see the early speed figure, say 85, drop to maybe 80 in the middle of the race, but something lower than the top end in the early part of the race, and then rebound for the second wind down the stretch. Number 6, Sweet Mischief, is making a start at the lowest level of her career. Only 5 races so far. 4 workouts prepping for the first run since January. So the horse should be fit off the bench. Angelic Storm, the 4 horse, that is your overlay, your top choice in here. Another one that's going to go to task at the lowest level of its career, looking for a rebound in the second start after a layoff. Last time out, it got bumped at the beginning and really never recovered. Then finally, Map of Life is a par plus horse in here, Terry. ran better fractions, and that was confirmed by better pace numbers in the opening half mile last time out. This is a wide open race. I think I had $6 left, so I went 4-6-7 over to 6-7 or to 4-6-7-8-9 in my trifecta to spend my last $6. So if you haven't done so yet, Terry, what should people do to make sure they don't miss any of the great content we do, including on Friday at roughly noon Eastern when we get together to do the Kentucky Oaks, Kentucky Derby double. And then we're also in that show going to do a pick six for Saturday. So you're not going to want to miss that, folks. Terry, how do they make sure they don't miss it?
Well, you're going to subscribe to YouTube, and you make sure you hit that little bell that's going to notify you about all these programs coming up, and go down and copy the link and, share that with your friends and your relatives and everybody you know, so they can come and see what's going on with us. And then you go to our social sites such as Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, and at the horse race, the number 2 day, and give us thumbs ups and likes, because that really helps us out.
Yes, we want to see some thumbs up, please. That helps us with the algorithms. Any interaction, again, thumbs up, coming back to rewatch the show. Speaking of which, about 5-10 minutes after we turn off the lights, we do put timestamps in for every race. So if you're following along the Parx card for the day and you want to rewind back and see what Terry and I had to say about race number 7, which is what we're going to do next. When race number 7 starts, just got to go to the description, hit the timestamp. It'll take you right to race number 7. And if you hit the thing for guaranteed tip sheet, it'll take you right to guaranteed tip sheet for the free picks of the day today. Finger Lakes. I think it might be opening day there, the second day of racing, the Finger Lakes racetrack. All right, Terry, race number 7. I mentioned that's where we're going.
Yes.
What are they going to run for?
We're going to go 7 furlongs for race number 7. It's an optional claiming race, $40,000 claiming price, purse $32,000 for 3-year-olds, which have not started for $40,000 or less, and which have never won 2 races, or a claiming race of $40,000, which have never won 2 races, or a claiming price for $40,000 for 3-year-olds.
Yes. At 7 furlongs, we saw that in the opener. Again, stalkers do good. Probably the least amount of horses go wire to wire, but still 16% of them manage to lead from beginning to end. There is a rail bonus for Amor de Oro, so somebody who loves gold. 2 and 3, though, is a better place to be. 4 and out, they run under par. Again, we mentioned not deal breakers, but still a little bit extra work to get the job done if you're out there in race number 7, Terry. Again, speed does not really win races, but it doesn't hurt you. And plenty of them look like they'll be involved early, except for maybe the Gold Lover.
Yeah, there's several that show speed, but the 5 and the 2 show the most speed. The 1 has an overlay from 5 to 2 to 4 to 1, and the 4 has an overlay from 2 to 1 to 5 to 1. All but the 3 and 8 have par plus numbers, and then all but the 3 have some kind of a C-zone number.
Yes, with the 1, the 4, and the 6 being above 50%. Our race shape, this is a pretty good race right here, Terry. It looks like everybody's got a chance to be on the track where they want to be. The 1 horse, Amor de Oro, wants to be on the lead. I don't know it's going to be there. In fact, probably not. Although if you press the button right, looks like a 2-hole, trumpet call, Bryson's option. But really not a big difference from worst to first here. So any horse really, if it steps on the gas pedal, could get to the lead. Looking at the late speed, Drunken Sailor. Aren't they all?
Yeah.
What do they say? You spend like a drunken sailor, right?
Right.
No offense to the sober sailors, but then they must not spend the same. Does have about a length advantage at the end of the race over everybody else. Looks like that one's going to be involved early on too. As far as our late speed to early speed combination, Drunken Sailor, 7 points clear of Trumpet Call. That one, Terry, looks like that might be the one that wins as a lone PC type in there. Those are pretty tough usually. We both started with the 1 horse over that 5, though. In fact,
Yeah,
we went identical. So once again, Terry with the plagiarism machine out.
yeah, that's true. Number 1, Amor de Oro, is my first choice. Won his last race at Parx Racing, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey, and a good workout on April 24th. Drunken Sailor, the 5, is my second choice. Won his debut race at Turfway Park and has a high percentage winning trainer and switches to high percentage winning jockey. And then I like the 6 horse as my third choice. He finished 3rd versus Tougher in his last race, drops in class today, and his best dirt speed is fast among today's starters. And then number 8, Bryson's Option, is my long shot. Ran 2nd versus Similar in his last race, has a high percentage winning trainer, Jamie Ness, and has high percentage winning jockey, Paco Lopez.
Yes.
And then, yeah, I'm going to play the last Don Johnson Miami Vice pick 4. I'm going to use the 1-5-6-8 because it is wide open with the 5-8, with the 1-2-8, with the 2-3-8-9. It's a $48 cost.
I went the same exact order, Terry. I left the 8 off on my pick 4, but Amor de Oro. It's the April 9th workout. It looks like the best published workout this horse has. 47-2 for 4 furlongs. That tells me Amor de Oro is going to come off the bench firing, Terry. Drunken Sailor is a track dropper, and typical second race improvement off of its debut would probably be enough to win this race. Masakadu. I was hoping you would try to pronounce that one, Terry. But this one is one of those horses, again, running at the lowest level of its career, does have a pretty significant par plus ranking, about 57% chance to go par in this case, 81 or better, along with the fact that that horse is making a big class drop, in fact, the biggest of the field, and is coming in off the track drop too. And then finally, tough call over the 2-horse trumpet call for me, but I went with the Ace 8 Bryson's option because you have Jamie Ness, the winningest trainer at Parx. Paco Lopez usually does exceptionally well at Parx. This horse also showed that it improved from the beginning into end of its last race. Coming in from Laurel, although it does have a couple of races at Parx, one of those races finished in the second place position. I think we have enough time to do race number 8, Terry, but we're probably going to have to go through it like if it's a 6.5 furlong race.
All right. Well, let's do that. It is 6.5 furlongs, as you mentioned, and it's an optional claiming race of $16,000 claiming price, purse $25,000 for 3-year-olds and upwards, which have started for $16,000 or less, or which have never won 2 races, or claiming price of $16,000, or which have never won 2 races.
Yeah, if I knew it was take 2 minutes, then we would have gone off to the races. But 6.5 furlong stalkers, about 1 out of 4 wins wire to wire. Pretty strong rail for Respirator. 2 and 3 discount, 4 through 7 fair, 8 and out's the worst place to be. Terry, where's the speed going to be in? Oh, hold on a second. Where the hell is race number 8? It got moved somehow.
Uh-oh.
I hate when this happens. All right. Well, where's race number 8? We got to find it. Race number 8. Where did you go? Did we delete that one?
I don't know.
All right. Well, I don't know what the hell happened to race number 8, Terry. So just give us your picks and I'll try to find race number 8.
All right. So I like in race 8, Chasing Stardom, which is my pick of the day. And it's the 5-horse, ran second versus similar in his last race, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Afraid of the Bunny is my second choice. The 8, he ran second versus similar in his last race, has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer. And the combination has, in the last 14 days, won 4 out of 11 starts with 2 seconds and a third, has a bullet workout on April 22nd. Respirator, the 1, is my third choice, drops in class today. The rail post win a pretty 20% clip. His best start speed is fastest among today's starters, and he has a good workout on April 17th. I like the 4, my long shot. He has a win at Parx Racing, has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer. And then I'm going to play $10 to win on the 5 and a $2 daily double from the 5 to the 1-2-8.
All right, I'm going to go with Afraid of the Bunny. Aren't we all? Should be better in the second Parx race after coming in from Oaklawn. Some good workouts between Chasing Stardom. The 5-horse is a green go horse, green all the way across the board there. What does worry a little bit about me is it has a couple of speed figures in a row at the peak of its ability last time out. So good chance for regression, although it is our lone E-horse here. We didn't get a chance to do that. Fenwick Jack, the 9-horse, gets the third call for me. Terry, it's going to be closing with Paco on board. Did run better pace numbers across the board from start to finish with Paco on board, winning that maiden claiming $16,000 race. And then finally, number 1, Respirator. The 1-horse is a dropping in class here. I'm expecting a rebound from a horse. Very consistent performer after a poor performance, but a good workout between races. No bets for me. Let's rewind to race number 2. I did find race number 8 there, kind of journeyed off to the side a little bit. We both like the 4-horse here in race number 2, Terry, and so do the bettors. They got that guy at 3-5 at the moment. Everybody's in. Jessica Paquette about to tell us what's going to happen. I can't share that with you, but I can share with you what I see. And I see the gates opening up and the 4-horse. Party at Sam's, the one we thought would get the lead, has comfortably done so. The 7-horse, so close so far. It's also involved. The 1 horse is down on the rail. To the outside of that guy looks like the 2 horse. So you got the 4, the burner, followed by the 7, and then the 1, and then the 2. The 4 horses that we have on our pick board there, Terry. About 4 lengths behind all of them, I think we find a 3 horse. That one, as they go through the opening quarter, and 22 and 2, and then way in the back. Looks like I feel I don't know who that is all the way in the back. Although the 2 horse in there looks like it's spent. So checking the boxes, not going to check the boxes today, Terry.
No.
Does look like the 4 is up on the mix there, though the 7 horse looks like he might give that long shot a run for. I mean, his that favorite a run for his money as they come down the stretch. They're both nose to nose. Who's got the guts? Who's got the heart to win this one, Terry? I think the 7 would have gone by, but he keeps rubbing up on the 4. So the 4 is going to end up getting the win. The question is, did the 4 come up the track or not? So it's going to go 4, then the 7, then the 1, 4, 7, 1, the 3 to 5, and then next up is the 3. So 4, 7, 1, and then 3. Zona de Amigos screwing up our superfecta there, Terry. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the replay here, because they were definitely leaning into each other a lot down the stretch. So I don't know if the 4 came up the track or the 7 was trying to come down the track. It will be interesting to see which did what.
Yep.
Because you really can't tell from the sideways angle. So they're going to have to show you the forward angle. It looks to me, like the 4 is coming up the track a little bit, because then the jockey tries to redirect them down the track. At Parx, highly doubtful that's enough to disqualify him, though. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think you can pretty much almost knock the other jockey off the horse at Parx and not get DQ'd. Kidding, of course. I've seen him knock them off and not get DQ'd. No, just kidding. So 4-7-1. That is the current running order. All right, Terry, 2 races to go on this day. Tomorrow we'll be back again for Parx. Keeneland is closed, so Wednesday and Thursday, guess what? We'll be doing some Kentucky Derby prep by handicapping Churchill Downs for Wednesday and Thursday. You're not going to want to miss that. Again, Friday, you're not going to want to miss our Kentucky Oaks Kentucky Derby double, along with the Saturday Pick 6. Make sure you don't miss any of that. Subscribe. Follow us on Twitter if you don't already. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of the above at Horse Race, the number 2 day. Horse Race today on all those social sites, and subscribe. Thumbs up while you're here on YouTube, Facebook, or however it is that you're participating today. Race number 9, Terry, it's going to be the shortest one of the day. How short is it?
5.5 furlongs. It's an allowance race, $41,000 purse for registered Pennsylvania-bred fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards, which have never won a Pennsylvania restricted race or races other than a maiden claimant or starter.
No objection at all. Not surprising. It Parx. So it looks like they got the 4 horse in the winner's circle. Took the photos already. Highly doubtful we'll see any change to the 4-7-1 finishing order. 5.5 furlongs, Terry. The way to the winner's circle is to have some early speed. 45% win wire to wire. So far, nobody's won from the rail. Very difficult to win from post 2 or 3. The outside in is the best place to be. So the farther from the rail, the better off you are, Terry, in race number 9. But we don't have a whole lot of horses in this race, if I remember correctly. Yes. Well, we got another scratch in there kind of at the end, huh?
Yeah.
All right. The 3, 4, and 5. I don't have either one of them in my picks. Anyway, so of the 5 horses that are left, Terry, it looks like the speed is on the inside.
That's right. The 1 and the 2, and they should go probably head-to-head to the quarter pole. The 1 shows an overlay from 3.5 to 1 to 5 to 1. The 8 shows an overlay from about 8 to 5 to 3 to 1. The 2, 1, and 8 show only par plus numbers, and they're pretty decent. And then all of them show some kind of a C-zone.
Yes, indeed. The 8 horse, that overlay right there, Terry, taking the outside post position. Me, I'm a dummy. I took the inside, despite the fact that they never win. All right. In race number 9, Terry, we're looking at the 1, 2, 6, and 7. They want to be on the front. The 8 horse can sit right behind this wall of speed. Let them all burn one another out, run by at the end. But first, Gray Lightning and Don't Pass the Princess. Good advice if you bet the 1. They should be up on the lead. The Goddess of Snakes right there. You're the one should sit right off the pace, just like the pace projection, our trip handicapping suggests at the end of the race, you're going to be looking at You're the One coming a little bit quicker than the 2 or the 1. But maybe a lot of ground to make up there, as the 2 and the 1 are about 3/4 of a length ahead of the 8. The 6 and 7 look like they have a lot of work cut out for them to get by one of those first 3, Terry. Who do you think wins? There is an objection now.
Oh, is there? Okay. Thought there might be.
Yeah, I thought there would be too, because it looks like the 7's going to go by until the 4 brushes them, but I don't know at Parx that's going to be enough. We shall see what the stewards think, but now we're going to see what Terry thinks about who's going to win race number 9.
Yeah, I like the 8. You're the One. She
Thank
has
you.
won. You are, yeah. She won her last 4 races in a row, so loves to win. Drops in class today, and she has a high percentage winning trainer. Gray Lightning, the 2, is my second choice. Won her last race by 14 lengths at Parx Racing. Her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. She has a nice bullet workout on April 23rd and has a high percentage winning trainer. And then Don't Pass the Princess is the 1 horse, is my third choice. She won her last race at Parx Racing and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Then the 7 Twister. She finished 3rd versus similar in her last race at Parx Racing, and she has a high percentage winning jockey. I'm out of money, so I can't make any other bets.
I think it's going to be pretty close on this 4 horse in that opener, because he comes out 2 lanes and bumps into that 7. So It'll be interesting to see what they do on that race, Terry. I think had the 1 passed the 7, it would for sure be a DQ, but it's going to be tough to say, because they're going to have to make the assessment that the 7 would have gone by the 4 if not for that bump. And so we'll see. Nope, they left it as is. Like I said, I've seen a lot worse at Parx not get knocked down.
Yeah.
So it goes for 7 and 1. I like the 2 horse in here, Gray Lightning. This is my top selection. It looks clear as day to me that the connections are in here to pick up a check, Mr. Terry. It did run the top last race speed figure, 11 points higher than the next closest horse. Although I do have to admit, with that triple-digit speed figure well above anything else that this horse has produced, there's a good chance that this horse regresses in this spot. Don't Pass the Princess. Well, if he has the lead, those 2 are in my pick 4s. I don't want anybody to pass the Princess. She does have a strong workout between races, and all of the race internals were better across the board. If it weren't for the rail, which hasn't won yet, I'd probably have put Don't Pass the Princess first. You're the One, Terry, is your top pick. It's also a class dropper that has early speed and the top late speed number 2, although it might be just a little bit too far behind to catch up the 1 and the 2 at the end. That's my thinking. And then finally, Twist Her. Room to improve in the second start after being better across the board in all of its race internals a last time out. That gives us one more race to cover on Money Monday. Terry, again, we're going to run the most common distance at Parx.
Yep, 6 furlongs. It's a claiming race, $5,000 claiming price. Has an $18,000 purse. It's for 3-year-olds and upwards, which have not won 2 races since October 29th.
And at 6 furlongs, you're looking for horses that do have some stalking ability. You want to be middle forward. Again, 35% win gate to wire, so pretty good place to be. Mischievous or mischievous, I don't know how you pronounce that one, depending upon, I guess, where you are in the country. But I know it's Juan next, so Mischievous Juan or Mischievous Juan does get a strong rail advantage. 2 and 3 get a small bonus. Again, 4 and out. Discounted, still have a shot to win, though its efforts will require a little bit more than usual to get the job done. Terry, in the final race of the day, who's going to take the lead?
Well, it's anybody's guess who's going to get there, although the 2 does show the most speed. And then the 2 has an overlay from 9 to 5 to 3 to 1. And the 9 has an overlay from almost 5 to 2 to 9 to 2. The 2, 9, 11, and 6 show the only par plus numbers. And then all of them show some kind of a C zone.
Yes, you got a Green Go horse again in Liam's Blue Moon, although I would like to see that C zone score well above 50, especially if it's going to be on the front. Might not be comfortable getting pressured up in there. Let's see where it's going to be. All these horses want to be on the front. All these horses want to be middle back. So pretty balanced race. Probably too many that want to be forward. So late speed could be beneficial in here. When the race gets up and going, you can see, Terry, a lot of them pretty tightly mixed up in there. So the pace could be pretty aggressive early on. Late speed should be a factor in that case, and that would go to Rudy Rod. But again, a lot of horses in the very tight zone there as well. The last race looks pretty wide open, Terry, although it looks like Liam's Blue Mood, Rudy Rod, Zip It Scotty, Mischievous Jones, and there's a Mischievous Juan in there too. Wow. It's a mischievous race. Look out.
Yeah.
But look at all these horses like really tightly mixed in here, Terry. The last race looks like it's up for grabs. Who's going to grab the winner's check?
Well, I like the two Liam's Blue Moon, finished in the money in the last 3 races at Parx Racing, winning the last start, and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Our Good Time Charlie, the 8, is my second choice, finished third versus similar in his last race, and he has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Zip It Scotty is the 9, is my third choice, ran second versus similar in his last race. His early speed running style helps his chances while returning to a sprint, and he has a high percentage winning trainer. And then I like the 3, Rudy Rod. He has a high percentage winning jockey, has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and his best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. I'm out of money, so no additional bets for me here.
Well, Liam's Blue Moon, Terry, is that Gringo horse. This one, if it can repeat any of its last 3 races, would probably be better enough to win. Has 5 consecutive speed figure increases in a row. That's a handicapping angle. Well, 3 or more in a row. It's a 15%er plus, according to Barry Meadows. Rudy Rod did run a Z pattern in its last race. I expect the horse to rebound off a disappointing performance. Hide the Ransom, the 11 horse, is a left arrow horse. Solid workout between races. Did run the same fractions at 6.5 furlongs as it did at 5.5 furlongs in the previous start. And now it's going to cut back to the distance in the middle, 6 furlongs. And then finally, Zip It Scotty. That horse, the 9 horse, is a pretty high par plus score in here. In fact, it's the top par plus, second best par plus horse in the race. Also an overlay. This one's going to cut back in distance from $170. It was a really hard call for me over the 6 horse, Lazaretto. So those are my final picks. Here are our full picks to start the new week at Parx, Mr. Terry. So far, we've had the 2 horse win the first race, then the 4 horse win the second race. Here are our picks for the rest of the day, Mr. Terry. Any final thoughts from you before you and I leave here to join again tomorrow to discuss Parx once again?
Well, I just think you should subscribe to YouTube if you haven't for our show. Hit that little bell so you can find out when our show is going to be, like on Friday and whatever. Mm-hmm. And then also take and copy the link, send it out to your friends, relatives, everybody you know, so they can come and check us out. Go to our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, and our social sites at Horse Race, the number 2 day, and give us a thumbs up and or a thanks or a good show or whatever you want to call it, or likes anyway. And hope you do really well this week on the Kentucky Derby. And go ahead and do some good handicapping. Use some of the different things we say to maybe help your handicapping, and have a great day.
Yeah, and make sure you get over to Guaranteed Tip Sheet today for the free picks at Finger Lakes. But of course, as Terry mentioned, Friday, the Kentucky Oaks. Saturday, the Kentucky Derby, the kicking off the Triple Crown. I think Fierceness, right? That's the 5-2 favorite, that runaway winner in the Florida Derby, though that horse is yet to put together back-to-back good races. So maybe a vulnerable favorite, depending on if you can get to the front or not, Terry, in reasonable fractions. A lot of horses are going to press there. One of the things that you can do in your handicapping, a few years ago when we had on the Hall of Fame jockey, Mike Smith, he did mention to us that one of the things that's a clue as to who might do the best at the Kentucky Derby is to pay attention to those Churchill downworks, because he said that track is unlike most others. It's a peanut buttery surface. I remember that's how he described it. Mm-hmm. And he said that how a horse trains there is how a horse runs there. And remember, Rich Strike, that horse pretty much ran like crap anywhere else, but did do all of its best work at Churchill Downs. And of course, the one time I didn't bet my namesake and left 80-1 on the table, Terry, we won't make that same mistake this year. No. All right, folks, no matter what you're doing for the rest of this Money Monday, we certainly hope that all of your endeavors have God's grace, God's blessing, and every single thing you do on this day ends up in
the winner's circle.
Indeed. We hope to see you there and again tomorrow right here for Parx on terrific Terry Tuesday.